trips from when I was about 3 years old. Those experiences almost certainly shaped not only who I was to become, but also what I do today. Fishing became such a passion of mine that around Christmas and my birthdays, I always asked for fishing gear for my gifts. And all during the school year, I would just sit around daydreaming about my next fishing trip. Fishing for me brings out the instinct to hunt. I absolutely love the thrill of pursuit and the anticipation of capture. But at the same time, my empathy brings me to use barbless hooks and to practice catch and release. Fishing also helps to release the pressures and stresses of life. When I get outside, my mind opens up and everything just kind of floats away. I think Henry David Thoreau put it well when he said, "Many men fish throughout their lives without knowing what they're fishing for." When I was in high school, my best friend Kirk called me and said, "Hey Eric, I went up to the cheese factory ponds and I caught a bunch of bass. I gotta take you up there." Now these ponds are literally on pasture land with a French cheese factory. The obstacle was the barbed wire fence and the private property. One spring afternoon we went up there and we jumped over the fence and we ran up the hill and it was absolutely beautiful. Nature was wonderful, the fishing was great, and as usual the time flew by and we had to head back to the car as evening was approaching. As we approached the highway under the cloak of night, I saw a dark shadow running towards us. "Quick, jump over the fence!" When we landed on the other side, there was a bull staring straight at us. Dangers lurked. Over the years, I kept going back to these cheese factory ponds and climbing over the fence in the early morning before it got light, running up the hill and getting up to those ponds to the glories of nature. Nature never disappointed me whatsoever. So just a couple of years ago, I called my nephew Matthew and I said, "Hey Matthew, I'm headed up to the cheese factory ponds. You want to join me? Now you've never been there and it's private property. I've never been caught, so..." Without hesitation, Matthew said, "Yeah, Uncle Eric, I'll go with you." So the early next morning, we parked in the parking lot, we went down the road, and we climbed over that fence, and we ran up the hill before it got light and started fishing. And the birds were singing, it was a beautiful day, and of course we were catching fish, and probably the best thing about that day was just spending time with my nephew and bonding. But as usual, the time was flying, and I said, "Hey Matthew, it's almost 8 a.m., just a couple more casts, we better get out of here." Now just a few moments later, a dog appeared up the road on the other side of the pond. I said, "Matthew, quick, get behind the bushes, we better hide." A man came up behind the dog. The dog ran behind the pond, went up the trees behind us, and stopped and started barking. "Woof, woof." The dog's marking our location, we better make our escape. Now, this landscape is really rugged. There's loose rocks amongst the grass on steep hillsides, and we were darting from tree to tree trying to hide during our escape. It was crazy. We got down to the fence, my heart was pounding, my adrenaline was running, we climbed over. I said, "Matthew, leave the gear here, we'll go to the parking lot, we'll come back and get it." As we approached the parking lot, an angry man came running towards me and he said, "Hey, was that you up in my pond?" I said, No, that wasn't me. My nephew and I were just out on a morning walk," I lied. And he said, "Hey," turned to his buddy, "go down the road, check by the fence and the grass. I bet they left their fishing gear." Well, I knew right then the jig was up. Our goose was cooked. I said, "Hey Matthew, let's just leave the gear and let's just get out of here." So we walked around the earthen mound behind which the car was parked, and I stopped, and there was a tractor parked behind our car. There was absolutely no escape. So I realized, I've just got to tell the truth. So I went up to the angry guy and I said, "Look, that was us up at the pond. In fact, I've been fishing here for 30 years. I'll never come back, I promise. If I ever see you again, I'm calling the sheriff." Well, he backed up the tractor, he let us go. We headed on down the highway, and Matthew and I were rejoicing in our freedom. But we also vowed to each other to never go back to those cheese factory ponds. We also vowed, though, to keep climbing over fences and running up hills and pursuing fish and ponds and life, because after all, life is founded on our experiences and those help to form who we are. So really, the important question is, where's my next adventure going to be?